Okay, I'm Mary Jane, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Dare County, and I live in Southern Shores. The League is a nonprofit, nonpartisan political organization. It encourages informed and active participation in all levels of government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The League maintains a strict nonpartisan policy. It neither endorses nor opposes any political party or candidate. The League participates in a positive campaign project and has requested that each candidate take the Code of Campaign Ethics pledge. We prohibit campaigning and/or campaign literature in the forum room. All cell phones and electronic devices should be turned off. Texting, videotaping, so on, prohibited. This will be, however, recorded, and it will be available on, well, I'll tell you at the end. So you don't need to record it yourself, it's available. League members participating today are the greeters, who also retrieve questions and cards from the audience. We have Wendy and John Addison, they're back by the door, and Susan Merrill, who's up here by the windows, and Tony DiBernardo. So if you have a question that you want handed in, raise it up, they'll come and get it. If you need another card, raise your hand, they'll bring you another card or cards if questions arise as we're talking. Okay, and then the questions are being reviewed by Colleen Almany over here, and Audrey Esposito, and Judy Lotus. And the timekeeper in front here is Sunny Shea. We encourage a lively and respectful discussion. If you, I just said that, if you think of a question, raise your hand if you need a card, or if you have a card to hand in. The candidates present here are, this is just in a random order. This is an order in which they filed, actually. Don Kingston, Nancy Cavanis, Robert Mooney, Charles Burdick, Monica Thibodeau, Sanford Whitman, Benjamin Van Dorn, and Jonathan Britt, and Mark Murray, all sitting there. As we do this, I wanted to tell you, there are 5 seats available. There are 9 candidates. Okay, and each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. The timekeeper, Sunny, will signal when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining with a caution sign, and will just show the stop sign and stand up if the candidate continues past the allotted time. And if they don't stop talking, she'll use the sign as a paddle and administer a little punishment. After the opening statements are done, the candidates will respond to questions from the audience. Voters are asked to submit written questions, legibly written and signed with their name and their town of residence. And we'll give priority to the residents to ask questions. If we have more time and people from outside the town have asked questions, we'll let them go ahead. What will happen is that the League members that are sitting at the table will review the questions for clarity, relevance, and to avoid repetition. We believe this procedure will afford the greatest variety of subjects to be covered in the allotted time. So if, in other words, if 2 people give more or less the same question, we'll give one person the chance to come up. You will come up, you'll asked to step to the podium and read your question. You must read it just as it is on the card. And we may have edited for brevity or clarity or something like that, but read it as it is on the card and without any further comment. The questioner will then be seated and the moderator will continue to preside. So in other words, you'll step forward, you'll read your question, give me the card, because we save it for the historical record, and then be seated. And then what we'll do is that we'll call somebody up to be waiting in the waiting chair so that we have a continuous flow. We don't have to wait for somebody to come from the back of the room. You get what I mean? So, okay, the League advocates positive campaign practices, and we reserve the right to omit any questions that are viewed as a personal attack or unrelated to the campaign issues. The questions can be addressed to a specific candidate or all candidates. So if you just want to hear from one, you put that on the card. This is only for whoever. If it's in general, just leave it and we'll know that it is. Okay. The candidates will have 1.5 minutes each for the allotted responses. Again, the timer will signal the candidate when 30 seconds remain and stand if the candidate goes over the time allotted. Opportunities will not be extended to those who initially pass on a question. So in other words, if one of these people say, well, I choose not to answer that question, or it doesn't apply to me, or can't come back for a redo. Okay, and then finally, each candidate will be entitled to a 2-minute closing statement. Before we started, the candidates drew numbers to establish the order for their opening statements, and we will reverse that order for the closing statements. Okay? Ready to start? Any questions about the procedure? Okay, then we will begin with the opening statement from the candidates based on their numbers they drew as they arrived. And the first one will be from Mr. Van Dorn.
Tape on stuff like this. And one thing I never want to forget is how proud I am of actually the other people up here and previous council members to come in and take the time and work with our town and try to grow our town in a better place. The other thing is I think this is great. There's a lot of people out in the audience. I look forward to hopefully seeing more of you and you more participating in what's going on within our town. As a political scientist, a political teacher told me, you really want to know what's going on, go to your town meetings, be a part of your town, help them grow, and hopefully grow in the way you want it to grow. Hope to see you all in the near future, and please vote. That's probably the biggest thing. Thank you.
Mr. Burdick.
Good evening. I want to thank you all for coming. I'm Chuck Burdick. I've been home, I've been at home here for 35 years. We've been resident here for 18 years. And I've represented you all for the last 9+ years on the council. And I thank you for that privilege. As background, I have a chemical engineering degree and an MBA. I spent 30 years with DuPont in manufacturing, development, marketing, business, financial analysis, all over the world. When I retired, we moved to Venezuela, and I spent 10 years there as a VP of operations, operating a dozen plants all over Venezuela. When it was time to come home, we came home to Duck. And my wife and daughter and I settled here. And as my wife said, I needed something to do, so I became a contract postmaster for the last 15 years. Duck is the #1 town in the Outer Banks for residents, owners, and businesses. And in the last 10 years, we've developed our town vision, our principles and objectives, and we update them every 5 years, and we follow them. We've built our town hall and meeting hall. We've completed a boardwalk project to the end of all of the Outer Banks towns, and an excellent beach management project. Initiated the Duck Merchants Association, provided added police fire resources for improved safety and service to everyone, especially our retired residents, and continue the development of the best town staff on the Outer Banks. Everyone is committed to work together for Duck in a collaborative and fiscally responsible manner. Thank you.
Great. Right on time. Ms. Thibodeau.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the League for sponsoring this event this evening, and thanks everybody for being here tonight. It's wonderful to see so many folks and get a chance to get to know each other a little bit and what's important to our town. By way of introduction, if you don't know me, my name is Monica Thibodeau. I've been a resident of Duck for over 30 years now, and had an opportunity to raise my family here and see this town grow as well. Been really proud of what we've been able to do, both together, both before we were incorporated, during that process, which was fascinating, and now since we've been in town since 2002. I've been a member of the town council since the first election, so I've been serving the town since 2003, and it's been a wonderful opportunity for me. I am a business owner. I'm managing owner of Carolina Designs Realty. Have been owner since 1991. My husband, who I've been a widow for 10 years this month, hard to believe. My husband and I grew that business, and as a property management and sales company, it gives me a unique opportunity to not only have an understanding of my fellow residents here in Duck, but our out-of-town property owners, fellow business owners, as well as our vacationing population. So I feel uniquely qualified to be able to understand the needs and balance those constituencies, and I think it's been a wonderful, I think we've done a really great job of that. I'm a volunteer in many aspects, not only on the council, but on the planting, dune planting project, and other community activities throughout the Outer Banks, most recently on the Relief Foundation. I'm very a proponent of the environment and know how much we have to preserve that and guard our unique natural resources here. I look forward to hearing whatever thank you very much.
Ms. Cavanis.
Thank you for coming out this evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this candidates night. My name is Nancy Cavanis. I have lived in Duck going on 25 years, moving here from the Finger Lakes to open up a bed and breakfast. I owned that business for 21 years, and then when I retired from that, I've been working as an independent social media and marketing consultant. For 24 of those years, I've been a race director here in Duck, creating an annual event that has really become a cornerstone event on Thanksgiving Day in our town. And for 20 years, I've served the Duck Fire Department as a volunteer firefighter. My entire life here in Duck has been about service to this community, first with the Duck Civic Association, then through our path towards incorporation, and as serving on the town council for several terms. I've been part of Duck's visioning endeavors. I've also been part of our land use planning processes, tapping into my formal education and my previous career in community health in both the nonprofit and academic sectors. Actually, my whole life has been about education, community, and public health. And I feel that I have enthusiastically contributed in this way, living here and in other communities where I have lived. I've served the town faithfully, and I'm seeking office once again. I always try to put my best to everything that we have to consider, trying to understand the needs of all of our stakeholders, and appreciating that this town became a town because of its valuing grassroots participation. And I look forward to participating tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Murray.
Good evening, thank you for coming. My name is Mark Murray. I've lived in Duck since 2013 with my family. I've worked in Duck since 2003 when I moved to the Outer Banks. I even met my wife Deanna in Duck, so it obviously holds a very special place in my heart. We've been married for 10 years and are very happy to be raising our daughter in this safe, welcoming, and vibrant community. I've served on the planning board since 2013. I've enjoyed that service, and I think I can make a contribution on the town council. I hope in that capacity I can be part of the town's continued growth while working to make sure that that growth occurs at a pace and scope consistent with the town's vision statement and Campbell Land Use Plan. I'm excited to see what the updated Campbell Land Use Plan brings to our future deliberations as we move forward. I'd like to see the town continue to develop pedestrian amenities. I firmly believe that we will be more successful if we continue to make the town more friendly and safer for walkers and cyclists. I'd like to see the town begin to set funds aside and plan to deal with the effects of sea level rise and subsidence. We cannot be sure exactly how these realities will manifest themselves in the future, but we can be certain that planning and financial preparation will position the town to answer those economic concerns that will arise from the growing uncertainty linked to these issues. I would also like to see the town further develop strategies to improve soundside water quality, resiliency, and habitat restoration. If elected, I look forward to the ongoing conversation that I hope to maintain throughout my term with all of you. I think we have a unique opportunity in a community of this size to have meaningful discussion about the issues that come before the council. So, should I be fortunate enough to be elected, I look forward to hearing from you and understanding your concerns about the issues that we face together.
Thank you. Mr. Britt.
Thank you. I'd like to, well, good to see this big crowd here tonight. Very excited to see everyone. Also, this outstanding group of candidates. I think everybody up here will do a fantastic job. And I'm here to introduce myself as John Britt. I've lived here since 1977. I currently live here with my wife Lori and son Will, who are unable to attend tonight due to some obligations at Chesapeake, but they wish they were. I've lived here since 1977. I grew up here, went away to college, came back in 1990 and started Norbank Sailing Center. I ran it until 2017, at which time I sold it to my right-hand person and developed a property up there, which is now the Village Table and Tavern. Now I currently work as a boat rep for several lines. I don't know if you guys may have noticed, while I sailboats on the water this weekend, we're hosting a national championship regatta out there, which we've done several times in the past. And I also work as their caretaker over there, and also as a dad and baseball coach. But I have a long history of volunteering in Duck, both pre-incorporation and post. Before incorporation, I joined the fire department in 1991. I've been there for 26, 27 years now. Currently serve as captain. I served on the original Duck Trail Committee along with a couple members up here. I served as Duck's representative on the Dare County Planning Board. And upon incorporation, I served on the Ducks Planning Board for a number of years, both as vice chair and then as chair. And I was fortunate enough in 2012 to be appointed to council and then elected in 2013. And the journey and work we've done as council has been a lot of fun. I really look forward to I look forward to the questions tonight, see what your concerns are. I have one small quick story I'll say. Mr. Gordon ran on the opposite end. I met him on this beach in the early 80s. We've been friends for a long time, so that's how long we go back. Look for your questions. Thanks for coming out this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Whitman.
Good evening. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event this evening. My reason for running for the council seat are to help the town move forward with a positive direction to serve the residents and businesses alike, and to improve our public safety division with their new structure at the housing division. I came to Duck for the first time in 1981. I retired here in 2014 with my wife Mary Ann and officially located to Duck from Kingston, New York, and have been a permanent resident of Duck for the past 5 years. I graduated from Hudson Valley Community College and joined the family business. While I was there at Whitman Electric, I worked with industrial and commercial clients as well as contractors to design and build state-of-the-art industrial and commercial electrical installations. In addition to my business experience, I feel it's important to understand the volunteerism role it plays in healthy communities. I'm a former board member of the City of Kingston Planning Board, Boys Clubs, and Boys and Girls Clubs of Ulster County, a member of the Kingston Area Library, and a former board member of Hudson Valley National Electrical Contractors Association. My belief is the community involvement continues here in Duck. I'm a former member of the Board of Adjustment, a current member of the Town of Duck Planning Board. I serve as a team leader in the Town of Beach Nourishment Planning Project, and a member of the Town Land Use Committee, and a Town of Duck Event Volunteer. My desire to serve the community council begins and ends with a commitment to the community. I want to help guide Duck forward in a positive construction direction. I'm committed to preserve the quality of today's life with a keen eye towards the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mooney.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rob Mooney. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and to all you people for coming out here tonight, because we can't have fun without all you people coming around and tell us what you need. I've only been doing Duck for a little more than 2 years, but I've been coming here for probably more than 30. In the middle 80s, I started coming here with my family on vacation. So I'm very familiar with how this town is. And because of the beauty and the attraction that this town has always had, Patty Bossert and I decided when we both retired from New York City to come down here to live and to spend the rest of our lives on this beach. And that's our intention. We've become involved with the beach planting, with the jazz festival, as well as various other things in the town. And our goal, my goal, is to make this place as beautiful as it always has been, and to keep it that way. I retired after 28 years with the New York City Police Department. I spent the majority of that time as a detective in a homicide squad in Harlem. I immediately went to work for the New York County District Attorney's Office as a deputy chief in their investigations unit. So I think that 34 years of public service, real public service, has given me a unique perspective in seeing how government works and how it can serve the people. It's very important for us to understand that you are what's really important in this town, and to keep you happy and to try to make things as safe and as beautiful as it always has been here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kingston.
Thank you. I'm John Kingston, and I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for arranging this candidate forum and the Board of Duck for attending this evening. I'm the current mayor of Duck, serving my 4th term, first elected as mayor in 2011. I served as mayor pro tem during my first term in the Duck Town Council, elected in 2009. I was a member of the Duck Planning Board in 2009. I've been an active town volunteer since 2007. I currently represent Duck at the Garrett County Control Group and serve as council liaison to the DCBA. In 2017, I was elected to the North Carolina League of Municipalities Board of Directors, representing the cities and towns District 1 to 12 counties in northeastern North Carolina. I also serve on the Board of Directors Finance Committee, acting as co-chair. I'm an active member of the North Carolina Mayors Association. I hold an MBA from the University of Rochester Science School. I have undergraduate degrees in mechanical engineering and business and Russian through technology, and I'm a graduate executive development program of Harvard University. I'm retired after my 45-year business career. It included 22 years with a major U.S. concrete corporation, 5 years as a founder business owner, 7 years in regional management with 2 firms in the IT systems development staffing industry, and the last 11 years as an officer and vice president of a major U.S. staffing solutions corporation. My major qualifications and great attributes that qualify me as a candidate to be reelected to the town council are my extensive leadership skills, educational achievements, various business backgrounds and experiences, physically conservative and responsible, ethical, fair and honest, and sharing with council and staff a proven record of success. If elected for a 6th term, I'm committed to the town vision 2027, themes and goals, support the pedestrian and bicycle initiatives, support beach management plan, building of a new public safety building, building the Mid-Current Duck Bridge, reasonable regulations to ensure a balance between residents and non-residents of the business community, and to continue to be responsive and supportive to the key initiatives of the town in a fiscally responsible way. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I got everybody, right? Okay, as we proceed through these questions, I've got a grid here. I randomized the order of everybody, and this is quite the grid. So if I skip anybody, raise your hand and let me know if I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, so I'll call 2 people to the podium area for the first and second questions. After each question, I will call another so that the next questioner will always be ready to ask the question. They'll be waiting in the waiting chair. Okay, so for the first question, I would like, looks like Randy Morton to come forward and read your question. And in the waiting chair, we will have Carol Sykes. Okay, sir.
Good evening. I'm Randy Morton. I live in the town of Duck. My question is for all candidates. What is your vision for the town 5 years from now? What are the major challenges to be addressed? And what will you, as a council member, do to achieve your vision?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Britt.
Vision for town in 5 years. I believe we've done a whole lot in our past 5 years, or 10 years to do a lot. One of the things I would work towards is to really maintain and enhance the things we've built in this community. Be it the beach, the boardwalk, the paths, trails like that. I think it's time for us to, just really dig in and maintain what we've done. We've done a lot of good things. How I would contribute to us getting there. Continue to be very involved with all the various groups I'm involved with, continue to hear answers from people, and listen to the people about how we wanted to maintain, how we wanted to enhance. From this, being a business owner, a commercial property owner, a family, I get to interact with a lot of people. So I get a lot of input from them to see where we're going to go. But my main focus will be to maintain what we have, take very good care of what we have, and continue to let this town grow.
Okay, sorry. Mr. Murray.
I agree with what John said about finishing the projects we have ongoing and maintaining them. I think that that's going to be important moving forward. I think that essentially, when I think about how the town will look in 5 years from now, I think that it will look much the same. I believe that we are, by and large, built out, so you will see improvements and maintenance to the existing structures here, and then the continued advancements of the things that the town is taking on as far as the bicycle and pedestrian path and the boardwalk. I would like to see some sound side improvement. I like what we've done with beach nourishment, but I really feel like wetland mitigation, restoration, and some water quality restoration on the sound side will be something we need to approach as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kingston. Mr. Kingston?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do that. I think that the town has put in place over the last 10 years, Vision 2022, and our revised revision of Vision 2027. And it outlines those themes and those challenges that we face over the next 10 years. I think the council has done a great job in that. I see some of the challenges being obviously the new public safety building, storm management, like Mark said, the sound side, and some improvements on the sound side. And how do we address those? I think we'd address those like we always address things as a council. We're pretty unified when we look at issues. We work with staff and with the planning boards and address those on a priority basis. And a lot of it depends upon the fiscal responsibility and the funds available to do those things. But I think we'd approach it as we always have in a very structured and unified way. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thibodeau.
I think our vision, my vision of the town in 5 years is one of continued enjoyment of the town, enhanced movability with improvements to our pedestrian corridors and biking paths. I think we've got those projects to finish. The public safety building. I think Doug has done a very good job of doing a lot of planning and looking with our capital improvement programs. Certainly having a reduced debt by having the final payoff of this building. We just paid off our park. We've got, I would like to see perhaps a little bit more public living space, perhaps we've looked at that before. If there was, we are fairly built out, but there might be some opportunities for a little bit more open space for the folks. So I think our challenges will be certainly I think our popularity has definitely brought a lot of people here, and I think and so the idea of being able to keep our everyone that's here enjoying the area will be a challenge, simply because of popularity in the summer. I know everyone gets a little concerned about congestion, but I think keeping everyone involved is going to be how we can achieve it. Keeping on track with our programs.
Thank you. Ms. Cavanis.
Echoing what my other fellow candidates have said, I believe that the town's vision has been progressive and forward-thinking, and I would hope that the town would remain working in that direction. I think for me, in the next 5 years, I would hope to see the town be as fiscally responsible and fiscally sound as it currently is, and to be a resilient community, whether that means economically resilient or resilient from storms or whatnot. I think that that's something that we're striving towards, and to that end, I would like to see us up our efforts in that way. I think one of the biggest challenges is the built environment, whether it's continued development or redevelopment. I am of the opinion that the built environment is one of those challenges in our town that puts our beautiful environment in jeopardy much of the time. I think those two things come in conflict with one another. And so in order to address that, I would continue to work collaboratively with my fellow council members and committee members and all the experts that we bring in to find reasonable solutions.
Thank you. Mr. Whitman.
I'd like everyone has said already to make this community just keep going the way it is. Small town community, small town problems, hopefully. Keep our infrastructure in good shape, boardwalk, the pedestrian way, our buildings, and to keep our visitors coming back that will keep us going from year to year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vorndran.
That's fine. Hopefully I'll answer all your questions that Randy you have, but the biggest thing that we get out of this is that there's a vision in place the town has. It's been developed over years. Continue to move forward with this. I think it's good to have a plan in place. I'm a very planning type person. Things I plan to do, as most people that know me out there, I'm out in this community every day on all these different streets and so on and so forth. I like to listen to the people out today, listen to their input, and take that input and bring it back to the team members I'm going to be hopefully with here in the near future, and work together as a team to make this happen. And the last part of this, I'll just say, I don't think my mom can be wrong. This town is at the right size. Everything is moving in the right direction. We got to keep hold of our finances and make sure we stay strong and keep people here wanting to come back. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burdick.
I think I want to echo the comment that as part of the current council, we have a vision that has been driving us now for a number of years. And I think it's been key to building the town that we have. And so I think number one is to maintain that vision and maintain our focus on it. That brings into account a number of projects that we got going, or will be doing. And to get them done, as has been mentioned, it's going to take some careful financial planning to be sure that we maintain the financial health of the town. And I think that's the area where I have the most focus and generally recognized in the financial part of our town business. In addition to that, I think the focus on the sound side, the environmental situation is very important. It came up in the discussion in the last phase of our pedestrian plan that we definitely want to improve the situation on the sound side. And I consider that one of the higher priorities environmentally that we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Mooney.
Okay, so I agree with a lot of what everybody else has said. I think that the town is a beautiful little place, and it needs to stay a beautiful little place. I think that we don't need to expand too much more. In fact, I would think we don't really need to expand at all. But I think that the biggest problem that the town faces, and I'm speaking as a resident, non-business owner in this capacity, is the traffic problems that we have in the summertime. We have to figure out some way to mitigate those problems. I'm sure that there's an answer. It's probably going to cost money, but it's a problem for people that live here. It's a problem for the people that pass And I don't know if it's just been accepted as part of the plan, because we have all the people that go through Duck, go to Corolla that add to this problem, not to mention the 25,000 or so visitors that are here every summer. But we need to address that somehow. We need to figure out a solution to that problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then I got everybody? Okay, if Mr. Jeff Blue would come up and wait in the waiting chair.
If there's a issue of personal concern to you that's motivating you to run for council, what is that issue? In other words, is there something that's a personal concern to you that's motivating you to run for council?
And first, we'll hear from Ms. Thibodeau.
I think that my personal involvement and my personal concern is just one of the community. I felt very connected to this town since I've lived here, and I feel being part of the town council allows me to serve the community, to help it grow in a careful way, and so I think the concern I have is really for the community itself. That's what motivates me to be a part of it. I think my background in business has certainly helped with being a fiscally responsible council person over these years, and my ability to listen to a lot of different viewpoints and try to reach consensus has helped, I believe, really bring us together on a lot of different issues. So my concern is for the community.
Mr. Vordran.
Yes, my biggest personal thing from coming out to do this, I have to give credit to my political science teacher again back in high school. Again, he was very motivated. He told me, you really want to get involved in your town, you really believe in it, and want to help grow with it. I think it's an honor to be up here, to try to get out the voice of everybody that's in the town, to make this a better place. So my biggest personal would be my political science teacher. If he was still here today, I would thank him many times over. Thank you.
Thanks. Ms. Cavanis.
I feel a deep commitment to citizen participation. It's been an honor to serve the town in many, many capacities, and so that drives me to want to continue to serve. I'm very committed to the values of this town, everything that the town grew from and believes in, and I want to make sure that those values and those beliefs and those pillars that this town is about are preserved. Fair, keeping in mind the needs of everyone in the community, the homeowners, the residents, and visitors and businesses.
Thank you. Mr. Whitman.
I think that one of the reasons that I'm running is I'd like to see everyone get together, or stay together in this town as a group, instead of everybody running off in different directions. And that maybe that we should have a better feeling for our zoning and planning laws that we have in town. And that's something I'd like to see addressed in the next council if I'm on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murray.
My motivation is similar to Sandy's. From serving on the planning board, when we discussed zoning issues, I realized that there weren't always zoning solutions because the issues at hand had evolved beyond what could be solved through a simple zoning fix. So that was kind of what got me thinking about it, I guess the first motivation. And then the second was when I started asking other council members about the process and talking to town staff. I have a 9-year-old daughter, we plan to raise her here, and I felt like the issues as council confronts them, I could better serve her and through her all the other constituents because I would have a more holistic approach to the service I was offering to the town. So that's kind of a twofold motivation.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Burdick.
The impetus for me running for the town council was the same impetus that I ran in the first one. As the Duck postmaster, I am involved in all of the trials and tribulations of this town. People like to talk to me about them. They look that somehow or other we can help solve these problems. And the more that happened, the more I decided that the best way I could help the town and the people in the town is to be a part of the council, where I could influence the council as to what the thinking process actually was going on in town. So that's what started me, and that's what keeps me going. And I think the other piece of it is we've done a lot of things together as a team, and we still have more to go, and I feel like I can contribute to a very high degree to making the future a success for the town.
Thank you. Mr. Mooney.
Well, the motivation for me is I spent my entire adult life in public service, and I'm retired now, and I have lots of time to spend making sure that the job is done properly. So I just want to participate in a more formal manner.
That's it. Brief it to the point. Thank you. Mr. Britt.
First perspective, we run a community and family. As I've said, I've been here since 1977. I was raised here by my parents, and I raised my 9-year-old son here who finally has planned to marry Mark's daughter. I have 8 children. So you make Mark here right now, but I've been here a long time. I interact with a great number of members of this community, both business owners and visitors and those, and I think I bring a good perspective, so I want to carry on the vision of this community that my dad actually put into me years ago, and I want to continue the vision that we have as a council to keep it growing the way it is and raise my family here. But my main reason is family.
Okay, thank you. I want to be sure we're all invited to the wedding.
Absolutely.
All right. Mr. Kingston.
I think when I first ran in 2009, I wanted to be involved. I'd only been retired a couple of years, and it was a void from the standpoint of going 24/7 in business. And I thought I'd give back to the community and lend my experience and my leadership and expertise. And I certainly have gotten very involved. That's really why I'm running again. I want to see us finish what we've started. This council that's been in place since 2012 has a good plan in place. We have a lot of unfinished business. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us. And I'd like to be a part of that. And I'd like to maintain what I'm doing. It'd be a lot easier to be retired. I can tell you, we spend a lot of time. Some of my new responsibilities across the state have taken a lot of time, but I enjoy what I do. I want to be involved in the community. I want to represent the community well, and I want to see more success for the town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If Ms. Graham would step forward and wait the waiting chair, and you're on.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Bollier, and I'm a resident of Sanderling. My question centers around voter approval for expenditures. So my question is this: do you believe that large expenditures, excluding budgetary and/or emergencies, need voter approval? And if so, at what level?
I don't think I said his name right. Is it Grannon? It says here, R. Grannon. All right. Okay. Read your question.
Yes, I did.
The card there. Okay. And Mr. Mooney.
Yeah, I think that if the town needs to spend a large amount of money for some unforeseen reason, that is something that there should be some kind of forum or discussion involving voters. It's your money, so you should have a say in how it gets spent.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Mooney.
Thank you.
Mr. Kingston.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jeff Bollier, and I'm a resident of Sanderling. My question centers around voter approval for expenditures. So my question is this: do you believe that large expenditures, excluding budgetary and/or emergencies, need voter approval? And if so, at what level?
Okay.
provided, as you said, it's not some sort of emergency that obviously needs to be used for. Other than that, I think we want to be involved with it.
I'm sorry. Mr. Burdick.
I think that we had, as a town, have an exemplary budgetary process and a financial review process that has worked extremely well over the last 10 years that I've been involved in. Our town manager is one of the best financial managers on the Outer Banks, and he has guided us with our problems through a lot of turmoil, a lot of projects, and done so successfully to the point where Duck is very solid. And I don't personally see a need to have the townspeople involved beyond what they already are, which is at all the public hearings that we have, be it on the budget itself or be it on special expenditures. So I think what we're doing today is quite adequate for what we need.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vorndran.
Yes, I think the whole getting voters or community input is extremely important. I think the town has probably shown us a lot in the past, and I would like they do put information out there. They're trying to get more input. As myself and my wife, we've been to a lot of these meetings and so on and so forth. My biggest thing is encourage more and more people to show up to these to help guide the town. We need to guide it as a community to make this place a better place to go. And then, as everybody else said, when there's an emergency, you got to do time sensitive. The community input is very important, and keeping people coming to these meetings and these gatherings is the most important thing. I think we need to make sure we make a right decision with the money that we have in our possession. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whitman.
I think that the community should attend the meetings where they're talking about any special expenditures or the budget. And I think that we have elected a council to take care of our financial problems we have in town, that we should live with whatever the town council says we have. Thank you.
Ms. Cavanaugh. Ms. Cavanaugh.
I think one of the best things that we have at our council meetings is the opportunity for people to provide public comment at the start of the meeting and at the end of the meeting. So when situations come up, projects or expenditures, I guess the nature of the question were to come up, then we do provide an avenue for people to comment on that. And I feel like the town staff and the council is always open to hearing people's comments or suggestions or concerns regarding expenditures, but having a vote outside of normal budgetary vote, I'm not sure if that's necessary, or the other options that we have.
Thank you. Ms. Thibodeau.
I agree with Mr. Burdick that we have an exceptionally good financial officer in our town manager. Chris Layton has really helped us navigate through some amazing accomplishments, grant approval, grant acquisition, and careful budgetary planning. We have a town retreat for 2 days in the winter that really lets us delve into our capital improvement projects, and those forecasts go out many years. I think there's a lot of opportunity for the public to get involved in what the vision of the spending is going to be and listen to rationale for those expenditures. And you get a really good back and forth on council. I think that really debate the different pros and cons of different expenditures. So I really think that the process in place with a good opportunity for public input at our meetings, televised opportunity for public comment, just getting us on the side to chew into issues. I think we do really well, and certainly our biggest expenditure, beach nourishment, was talked about for years before we eventually proceeded. So I think what we have in place works very well.
Thank you. Mr. Kingston.
I think when you elect the council, you entrust 5 people to act responsibly and financially, caretakers of the town expenses and budgets. And I think, as some others have said, we have a very defined process year in, year out with respect to the budget preparation, the capital budget preparation, a lot of time for public hearings. And when it comes to major projects, and obviously the largest one we've ever had is beach nourishment, that took us 5 years to get to the point of spending money with numerous stops along the way for public hearings and public input. I don't agree that, in fact, every major expenditure should go up to the vote for the public. I think if in fact we don't like what the council's doing every 2 years, it can turn us out. But I think that proof is we've accomplished a lot. And we have great, good financials for the town. We have the second lowest tax rate of all the towns in the county. And I think that you would trust the town council, whoever they may be, with basically the fiscal responsibility of the town.
Thank you. Mr. Murray.
I think, considering the size of the electorate, I'm going to agree with most of the opinions that the public comment period is going to be adequate. I also think that public comment and public hearings gives council a more nuanced sense of what it is that's important to constituents about particular expenditures, rather than just an up or down vote again.
Thank you. Mr. Britt.
So, city voters are in a sense involved with it. We have a very clear capital improvement plan. We've made clear our budget through the process, and obviously a lot of public comment on that. Our CIP plan is excellent. It lays out what we're going to do down the road, so people know. I mean, they even know when police cars can replace cars. So it's all out there now. I think the voters are very involved now if they show up to meetings and see what's going on and move forward. Obviously, things may come up that are unforeseen. We may not have the opportunity as a council to try to get that to a vote because the decision has been made. Sometimes that happens. That's why you trust your council. But I think most large budgetary expenses are very well planned out and are out there for everybody to see.
Thank you. Got everybody? Okay.
Can I follow up with a question?
You're not supposed to, but if it's quick, we can't. I'm sorry. Mr. Hennessy comes to the lead chair.
Good evening, Roberta Graham, and yes, I got a U in penmanship in grade school. My question is, do you think Duck should be doing more to increase permanent residence? Do you think Duck should be doing more to increase permanent residence?
Okay, Mr. Vordren.
It's always good to see people want to stay here and be with us at all times. I love meeting new people, and getting new people to be here year-round would be wonderful. I think a lot of people in this town from 15, 20, even 5 years ago, I think they've always had a vision in the back of their mind that they want to be here year-round, retire here, be part of this community. How to promote that is time to bet. Just let people always know how wonderful this town is, how well we take care of this town, and make it a good, safe place for family and kids to enjoy for years to come. I think that would keep people coming and year-round residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Britt.
Absolutely, we should be doing more to encourage permanent residents. We look around and find Betsy or Donna out there always need more volunteers. We definitely need more permanent residents here. A lot of people have a vision to come here when they may buy a home here. And eventually, a lot of you guys out there may have done exactly that. Have a house here for another years and we move here. I hope that pattern continues. And we as a town continue to do things to enhance the town, make it more attractive to move here, make it easier for homeowners to do changes to their homes, to make them better year-round residences. Those are things that we can do. But absolutely. absolutely, we should do more to encourage, and the more the merrier, but I think there are things we can do.
Mr. Whitman?
I think, yes, we should entice more people to come year round. Again, like John said, to get more volunteers, more active people in the community. And I don't really know what I can say to entice them to come up.
It's fun. Mr. Burdick?
I'd like to comment from the standpoint of Postmaster, because I probably see more visitors than anyone else here and over time completely. And I do encourage them to settle here. I encourage the part-timers to make it their permanent home, not their temporary home in the off-season. It is amazing that in the last six months to a year, I've seen an influx of people moving here on a permanent basis. So whatever we're doing as a town, I think we're doing the right thing to encourage people to come here. And I think it's up to each one of us individually as we meet people to encourage them to move and not move just part-time, but move permanently.
Mr. Mooney?
I have to agree with Chuck. I think the town has created such a friendly and beautiful atmosphere here that people are thinking about this more often as a permanent place to live. And I think that that's exactly how it should continue. Try not to change the town too much and keep it the way that it is. And I think that's the thing that attracts people to come here.
Thank you. Mr. Murray?
Yeah, I think that we should do whatever we can to encourage people to live here year round. I think that we did, through the approval of accessory dwelling units recently, that offers a less expensive housing opportunity for people that are part of the workforce here or for smaller families. As part of the update to the CAMA land use plan, a transitional zoning district was discussed that would possibly help to buffer some of the fully residential communities from the noise of the village commercial district and offer a place that in transition would have maybe slightly more dense housing. I think that would be another good opportunity, something that we could pursue.
Ms. Thibodeau?
Yeah, I definitely echo the idea that bring more people, perhaps folks that are here part-time to consider making this their permanent home, going from a second home to a year-round home. And also have been encouraged by the folks that live in other towns on the Outer Banks who used to look at Duck as sort of the end of the earth and now come up here with great frequency, all different age groups. I really enjoy coming to our town, and that makes me really happy. It's good for the merchants. It's good. It just gives us a lot of vibrancy to have different generations here too. So certainly, what we can do to promote housing that allows workforce folks to live here would be an exciting. And we've done that with our sort of cutting edge, I think, for other towns and on the Outer Banks to allow different types of housing here. So I welcome it on all levels.
First time we were here, it wasn't the end of the earth, but it was the end of the road. Mr. Kingston?
Yeah, I kind of build on what Monica said, basically. I think we'd all like to see more permanent residents. I think we are seeing some of that. I think we're seeing more retirees who want to come to the Outer Banks and come to Duck. I think they want second homes and many are retired. I think also the professionals who work at home, it's an opportunity for them. But I think we also have to face the reality that Duck has evolved into a resort community. And people come here and they want a vacation here. And the cost of living is against young families and young workers and even regular workers being able to afford housing in Duck. And I think that it's a challenge. I think everyone would like to see us grow. I think that maybe perhaps we'll grow slowly over time. But I think the reality of the situation is we are a resort community and that's our business.
Ms. Cavanaugh?
In short, yes, I do think that Duck would be improved. I think our sense of community would grow stronger if we had more permanent residents. I think there's a number of challenges. I think housing cost is one of them. I think having a retired or semi-retired population is great, but another thing that Duck could really use are younger people who are raising their families, or people who want to volunteer as firefighters that are probably not, older people, but younger people would do us a lot of good. But there's a lot of challenges there. It's expensive.
Okay, thank you. Now, if Mr. Tony Parisi would come to the waiting chair.
Thank you, candidates, citizens. My name is Ken Hennessy. My wife and I vacationed on the North Banks every year from 1985 through when we bought our property in 2004, sometimes, most of the time, twice a year. After we bought the property, we visited here literally every other weekend until we became full-time residents in 2014, and have been very, very happy residents of this town, this area, and I thank the town and the council for making us happy. My question, what is your position, being on the town council, regarding the recent public access controversy? Do you support the use of eminent domain to obtain property to create public access? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Cavanis.
No, I don't.
Is that-
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Murray.
No, I don't support the use of eminent domain. I think that the town generally takes a collaborative approach to solving our more significant problems. I do think that beach access is an issue, but I think that taking land from someone else to deal with it is not a very collaborative approach. So I hope that conversation continues, but I don't support it.
Okay. Ms. Thibodeau.
I echo the sentiment. I would not support eminent domain to solve this issue. As a realtor, I've been acutely aware of the access, the different subdivisions since I came here, and the awareness has with the recent issues has come to the forefront. So in my mind, it's folks need to become aware of where we are, and we can examine this issue together in a very systematic way and look at the different options, but I wouldn't support eminent domain as a way to overcome any beach access.
Mr. Britt.
Also, echo the sentiment, no, I agree with eminent domain to deal with public access. Subdivisions were all platted years ago. Decide which one would be painful, would never want to. I do believe it's a situation we need to continue to look at, work together as a community on, but eminent domain is not the answer.
Okay. Mr. Mooney.
Absolutely not. I will not support that.
Mr. Whitman.
No, I would not support it.
Mr. Burdick.
No way would I support it. As someone just said, if we decided to do it, which subdivision, and then we'd have everybody looking on. So we can continue to talk about it, and maybe someday we'll find a solution, but we don't have one with eminent domain.
Mr. Kingston.
I think we should continue to do due diligence on public beach access. It's a very difficult situation for the town of Duck. I think everyone understands that. I would not support eminent domain. In fact, I believe a state statute, we cannot use eminent domain to take property for public access.
Mr. Vordran.
No, I would not support eminent domain. The other thing, I do not see myself supporting the beach access. I've been here way too long, and go back to thinking of beaches around right size, to give too much public access to this beach, a lot more crowded beaches, and people, families have joined these beaches all these years. Could be looking at an opportunity of having way overcrowded beaches to deal with. And I've said this in other public meetings that I've gone to. Again, I'm very proactive in our community, I think, that there's a bigger issue here, just other than giving people access to the beach. I think we have a responsibility to our renters, our homeowners and stuff, to keep this place the right size and not get too big for our bridges and having problems of our neighbors way up north. They had a big community beach problem, they had to bring in freaking how many millions of dollars to clean it up, make the place back where it was. Then you have all that extra money you have been spending on infrastructure, community services, so on and so forth, to keep those whole places up and functioning. I think we have better ways to spend our money, keep our place better and safer. Thank you.
Sorry, I was negligent. I don't have anybody in the waiting chair. So Mr. Jacobs, run up here, Robert Jacobs. And then the next person in the waiting chair will be, looks like it says Gwen Taylor.
Good evening, everyone. Questions about beach nourishment. Do you plan to do this on a regular basis? Will the same homeowners be charged in the same proportions? What is the plan?
Thank you. Mr. Kingston.
When you do beach nourishment, you have a responsibility to maintain it. So yes, at some point in time, there will be re-nourishment of the beach. When that timing is, it's probably dependent upon some of the other towns with respect to the status of their beaches. We will, as a council, whatever the council sits this year, will be looking once again at the MSDs, keep those in place, and hopefully that we won't have to be nourished in the short term, but eventually we will have to be nourished. We may have to nourish some of the other beaches within the.
Thank you. Mr. Whitman.
I have no comment on that one.
Okay. Mr. Britt.
Yes, we are planning to address re-nourishment, and the next council will get to that one. I know the MSDs will be maintained, I believe that we will look at doing it, and we'll get all the people into doing it. I think we saw that it did relatively well so far, but we will get input and we'll go from there.
Mr. Vordran.
Yes, I think I do see beach nourishment as being a thing we can continually to look at and possibly fund. It's always hard to tell how good it does, but the thing I can't get out of my mind when I think about beach nourishment is the area that we took care of, what that would look like if we had not. I mean, the water was already lapping at the dune and losing of people's homes. I think that'd be one thing I really hate to see. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burdick.
I live in an area of beach nourishment, and it was right that it would have been a total disaster by now if we hadn't done it. But when you do make that commitment to do it, then you are also committing to maintain it. And so I am sure, as has been said, the next council will have to deal with that subject, but we'll probably have to deal with it in a positive way, and that is maintain it, but hopefully at a significantly reduced cost compared to where you were with the first project.
Mr. Mooney.
I'm going to pass on the question.
Okay. Ms. Cavanagh.
I don't have anything further to add except to say that we committed to the project, and so we also are committed to making sure that we see through the re-nourishment portion of the project and its proper funding. It's not really any additional information that the other council members have shared.
Mr. Britt.
Did I already?
Ms. Thibodeau.
People get us mixed up all the time.
And I thought I had this perfected.
I agree with with the other comments regarding the project that we did was something that we knew we would have to continue to maintain at some level. There were a lot of unknowns when we embarked on this project, but that isn't one of them. The idea that we would have to at some point continue to maintain what we put on there. Not to say that we'll be able to do any other projects in the town. That one was critical. So without other, nourishment isn't a given for the Outer Banks. But in that particular case, once we get into a project, we need to see it through. There is some exciting data that we're getting throughout the entire town where we're doing this, reviews constantly to see the changes of the beach. So we're going to have a lot more data to work with going forward that's going to benefit the entire town. So I'm kind of excited about that. But, yeah, we'll have to maintain it at some level.
Yep. Thank you. And I think Mr. Murray.
I agree with all that. I would just add that, there needs to be public hearings and public comment when we're dealing with it again in the future. And also, long-term, as I mentioned in my opening comments, I would like to see a more comprehensive approach to both the sound side and the ocean side. I think as we deal with higher sea level, that's going to be an issue on both sides of the island. So that's the only thing I would add.
And thank you for those answers. And if Patty Bosworth will come up and wait in the waiting chair, and then you can ask your question.
I'm Gwen Taylor, and my question involves safety on our roads. I know that there are many, many bicycle riders who ride on the road rather than on the bicycle path. And as they do that, many, many cars go into the other lane, which I guess they feel they need to do in order to avoid the bike riders. And it seems to me that it's a significant safety problem for both the bike riders and the drivers. And I wonder if any of you have any suggestions for this problem.
Mr. Burdick.
That's a question that covers two areas. What can we do, and then what are we permitted to do by the state? And on the state roads, is I think I understand it, the bikes have the right of way on them, and so the most that we can do is caution people to be careful with the bike riders. We have a bike path, but we can't mandate people use it. We try to encourage it. We have, in town, in the village, added a separate bike path from the pedestrian in hopes that that would be safer than what we had before. But I think it's a subject that we all know about, and we're all going to just have to be very cautious about it. And the town will continue to try to promote bike safety and driver safety.
Thank you. Ms. Thibodeau.
I agree that is a state road, so there is very little that we can do, and bicyclists have a right to use that state road as any driver does as well. We do have some flexibility with speed limits, and we have, in particular in the summer, reduced those in the shoulder areas. So I think speed and certainly our police presence and our signage to keep people at the proper speed is certainly helpful. We've got the separate bike path now, which is a great addition to the separate sidewalk and the different phase of the pedestrian plan. And beyond that, other than just continuing public awareness and speed control, those are really the only things that we have authority to do.
Okay. Mr. Kingston.
Yeah, just to echo what Chuck and Monica said, basically, the state controls the bicycle laws on the state roads. So there's little that we can do about that other than have proper signage and warn drivers of bicycles in the area. I think that we did address it within the village with the sidewalks, which is basically pedestrians off the road, and forcing them to the crosswalks. We still do have bikers on the narrow bike path, and that's probably going to continue. And I think just warning signs and bicycle education, which the police do throughout the summer with visitors in the amphitheater before all the shows. They can then talk about bicycle safety. And so those are the types of things that I think we can do, signage and informing the public. Beyond that, we have a situation we have to look at.
Ms. Cavanis?
Well, I only have 2 minutes, so I don't get to talk about this very long. But for most of you that know me, if you don't know my name, you know probably the pink hat that you see running through town every day. So I am on the roads with those cyclists, whether it's in the village or outside of the village. And I can tell you, as a runner or as a walker, you do not want a serious cyclist on that multi-use path. A little kid on a bicycle is not the same thing as a serious cyclist that's going nearly 25 miles an hour. I think the biggest problem with bicycle use in the town are the cyclists that are not traveling in the right direction in the bike lane. They're not traveling with traffic. They cause the most conflict, they cause the most trouble, and they put themselves in the biggest harm's way.
Mr. Borgren.
Yes, I agree with all my other comments have been made. Education, make this place safer. There's a huge, we've got the inner part of town, it's getting better and better at making it safer for bicyclists and so on and so forth. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have people from farther out, farther skirts of the town. They're coming in, using bicycles and so on and so forth. I travel these roads many times every day through Duck. And I see more and more kids and bicyclists trying to go down the road or the multi-path farther out. I think we need a better way to help protect those people out there to where they can get to these inner city, here if you want to call it that. It's getting growing better and better, trying to manage the problem of both pedestrians and cyclists using the same space. I see my 30-second flag, so I have a lot more to comment about that, but thank you.
Mr. Mooney.
I think the question of the bicyclists can be incorporated into the problem-solving issue with traffic in town. Certainly something that needs to be addressed, and we need to figure out what we're going to do to keep everybody safe. That's the biggest priority.
Mr. Britt.
I think within the town, we've created a good atmosphere for the non-spandex bike riders to be on the detached part of the trail outside and use it in the village. I think we do need to further educate them to ride, as Ms. Gavin said, with traffic against. That is a very good point, but I think we've kind of done what we could. Those who want to ride in the spandex are going to be there. But I think we've done a good job with a lot of other communities to make sure that the non-spandex are safe.
Mr. Britt.
I think that the bicycle lanes that we've created in town help a lot on that. But the bigger thing is the education and village agents, I know, give out safety reminders every week that there are runners coming. And I just think it's time maybe people start following. And also at the events at the amphitheater where the police officer comes in and gives his speech. I think that helps a lot to educate people that are there that day.
Mr. Murray.
I think that phase 2 being completed and having 2 sections inside the town where the instructions that people are getting from the real estate companies and from the police in the amphitheater at the beginning of events are going to start to make more sense. I think one thing we can do as a town is make sure that the bushy grass designed to separate the walkers from the riders stays trimmed so the riders can stay as far over in the bicycle lane as possible. But I do think, and then as we work on phase 3, I think once that's finished and the instructions that people are getting start to make sense because they're able to travel in both directions in a safe manner, I think things will improve. But I agree with what everybody said about, awareness and just continuing to drive that point home.
All right, thank you very much. And Mr. Baruch would come up again.
Should the town of Duck have a Dare County ambulance stationed at the fire department?
Okay, and have Mr. Ritter.
Yes. On the busy summer season, I think there should be one.
Okay, and Mr. Rooney.
Absolutely. It's a safety issue, cuts down on time, response time, when somebody's really in need of serious medical attention.
Mr. Vordran.
Positively.
Ms. Cavanis.
With our current infrastructure, meaning our current public safety building, there is no room for the ambulance. With a new public safety building, if that was a feature that was built into it, and Dare County wanted to contribute the amount of funds that would be required, it would help, particularly in the busy summertime.
Ms. Thibodeau.
I know that the county has limited resources, and so that's why they position the ambulance in Southern Shores at the northern fire station there. Certainly, it would be welcome to have a ambulance, but I do know that our firefighters are all EMT trained, and many of our police are also trained to respond. So it would certainly be a nice thing to have if possible, but if Duck had to do all the funding, I don't think that would be feasible. So the county would really have to be a big player in that.
Mr. Britt.
I will echo that a little bit. I believe that it would be great to have one up here. I believe the county would need to be involved. The fire department right now, infrastructure-wise, building-wise, could do it. Could possibly do it with the public safety building. It would have to be something that was planned out. The county would be willing to do it. Yes, it would be nice to have one. It would be, but I know that our current department trains very hard as EMTs. We have some Southern Shores. Do the best we can in the situation. But if it were to arise, it definitely be something we would look into.
Mr. Murray.
Just to echo what everybody else has said, I'm in favor of it if we could work it out, but there are details to work out.
Mr. Kingston.
Yeah, I would agree that in fact having Dare County ambulance in Duck would be a great idea. We know the shortfalls we have currently. I think our fire department does a great job of responding quickly to incidents, and I know they do have a difficult time getting an ambulance up through town in the summer. I would hope that as we pursue the public safety building, they would come forth with a ambulance bay for the public safety building.
Mr. Burdick.
I agree that I think it would be extremely good if we could have an ambulance here, especially in the summertime. That's the critical time of the year. The ambulance that's sitting in Southern Shores is during the off season can respond quickly, but summertime is a real problem. It will take some planning on our part in the new public safety building, and obviously we would have to have the county on board to do this.
Great, thank you. Is there anybody else holding a card that they didn't hand in? Because we're getting to the end of the cloud, but that's okay because then you get out early. It'll be like 3:10. Okay, if Ms. Bossert would come up again in the waiting chair.
Thank you. Do you support electric scooters? Yay or nay?
All right, Mr. Murray, you're on.
Can I get clarification? Are we talking about people being allowed to use their own, or are you talking about like scooter sharing?
Either or.
Okay.
This also says electric bikes here, right?
I feel like electrification of transportation is a good thing. I feel like irresponsible use of any type of transportation is a bad thing. So I feel like if electric bicycles or electric scooters are used, I assume if it was an electric scooter, it would be used in the bike lane, not on the pedestrian path. I don't really have an opinion on that. Just by virtue of them being an electric scooter, I think that the regulations should be enforced, though, should they need to be, if people are not operating them in the proper way.
Ms. Thibodeau.
I agree with what Marcus said about, private use of scooters. I really don't think I could see the big rental scooters coming into town simply because of just the chaos that it could create. We've seen that be an issue in other towns, and we're just a little too tight around here to be on-the-job training with those type of things. But I don't have any particular issue with electric bikes or scooters that are used by owners. I don't see a big problem with it at this point, and certainly could keep an eye on it if it becomes a bigger issue. We've done some regulation with golf carts already, and we've got them contained. And I think where we might see the electric vehicles or electric scooters or bikes are on the side roads, it does get a little complicated when you get on the dock road. So hopefully that's clear.
Mr. Kingston. Mr. Kingston.
Sorry. With respect to electric scooters and electric bikes, I think that I would not want to see them rented per se in the town of Duck. I'm not sure we could prohibit them from coming through the streets of State Highway if in fact they can maintain the speeds in 45, 35, 25. I'm not sure what the speed of an electric scooter is. It is a danger, I think, to both pedestrians and regular bikers as well as cars. If we had our choice, I would say no, I would not see them.
Mr. Britt.
I'm working to use electric scooters wherever they're legally allowed to. I think that the rental of it is a complex issue. I think if we had an overrun of electric scooters, we might need to revisit that ambulance issue. But I do think it's, I support use of electric in transportation. I think it's good, but we have to figure out how to make it work within everything we have currently.
Thank you. Ms. Cavanis.
I guess what I'm seeing in my mind is sort of the equivalent of a fire hose through a straw, which I feel like we already have with cars and runners and bikes. And so to introduce yet another form of transportation, shooting through the sidewalks and the bike lanes, where it's already very tight, is probably just going to increase the number of conflicts and accidents. So I'm having a hard time visioning it. So I guess I'm going to go no.
Mr. Vorngren.
Might need a little clarification on that question. Did you say where to use it in town and on the roads or on multi-path?
Sidewalk, bike path, wherever.
I guess I'm going to make some of the other candidates here to the point. If it's legal, we have to stand by what's legal currently, so on and so forth. I see a lot of safety issues if they are, for whatever reason, if the town not to go on the multi-use path. The thing that I also see, and actually when you first thought of that, the first thing in my mind was people in the handicapped scooters. But I believe that's also addressed in the town works and the town and so on and so forth. So we go back to being what's legal currently and so on and so forth. Governing it. I think that would be not impossible, but if you don't know battle, we would like to see more community input and so on and so forth. Hear other viewpoints for this. I love seeing people. I love seeing people safe, and I love to hear more comments from everybody out there
the overpopulation and population of our streets and sidewalks and all things paths. Thank you.
Mr. Burdick.
I see this as kind of a two-issue. One, if people have legally registered electric scooters or bikes for use on the road, and they probably, there's nothing we're going to do to change that situation. However, the safety implications if they, of scooters on the bike path, and those kind of places, I think that's within the purview of the council to look and see how we can avoid the safety problems that probably are going to occur. So I think we'll end up having to address that part of it. But on the roads themselves, the public roads, we're limited in what we can do.
Mr. Mooney.
I think that privately owned and responsibly operated electric bikes, scooters, etc., there's not going to be a whole lot that the town can do with that. That being said, I think that the thought of bringing another vendor into town that's going to rent these things is completely ludicrous. We shouldn't even think about it.
Mr. Whitman.
Yeah, if they follow that, be agreeable to if they follow the regulations, if they're operated by the owners and not a rental business in town.
Okay, thank you. This question?
My question is to the current council members. If the town council has a fiduciary responsibility, as at least 3 of you have previously mentioned, why did the council vote to buy the Heron residential property for more than $1 million after zoning it commercial, virtually doubling its value, ensuring that Duck residents would pay double its original residential property value?
Okay. Mr. Mooney. Oh, I'm sorry. We just want the present council members. Okay, let's start here. Yeah, Mr. Mooney. I'm confused.
As I believe I referred to earlier when we were talking about our CIP type planning, I think councils are given opportunities sometimes. I know there's been a desire for something on the other side of town to park and kind of spread a little bit out what we did. I know that we met along and deliberated about it a long time. Thought about it quite a bit and made the decision to move forward because we kind of felt that there may not be another opportunity like it. It was not connected to the zoning decision had been previous to that. But this is kind of where we were at the time, and it didn't work out, which may be a good thing based on the question. But I mean, I stand by our decision to do it. I think it was a unique opportunity, and we made the decision to move forward.
Mr. Burdick.
I agree with what John just said. That's almost precisely what happened in terms of all of our discussions on this issue. In the end, it just didn't work out, maybe probably for the best.
It was an opportunity that we explored from the position of looking at it as a potential gateway and to secure the safety of the path, to potentially use it as green space. The opportunity ended up not working out, but we felt that it would have been an enhancement to the town and it would have secured safety.
Mr. Kingston.
The Heron family had reached out to us several years ago, asked if we were interested in the properties, 2 adjoining, or actually 3 adjoining properties. At that time, the council said we weren't interested. Then we revisited it a couple years later when they reached out to us again. And discussion that we heard from Mr. Britt and Mr. Burdick and Mr. Kavanaugh says we actually looked at that as being an opportunity to secure some land because there's no land available right now. And would avoid actually more commercial development, especially on Route 12 where the one lot is across from the Aqua restaurant. We looked at that as being green space. We looked at that as being perhaps a second restroom and sort of a kids' playground and a gateway to Duck. And we negotiated what I consider to be a very fair price with them, but the deal did fall through, and it's back on the market. The veterans did, even though they had agreed on the price, did not sign on paper. And I think the council did look at that as being an opportunity, there being no other opportunity within that to really pursue.
Ms. Thibodeau?
Yes, the council, as Mayor said, had a few opportunities to look at that land over the years. Initially, we were not interested, and each time when we're working on a negotiation, we have to go into closed session, sort of protocol to talk about that. So it's not to hide that from the public at all. It's just more of a strategic talk so that everything we're discussing isn't there for the sellers to hear. That was something that we discussed quite a bit and had a very degree of consensus on. But ultimately, after a lot of conversations, saw that there was a lot of potential for that property. You heard some of the ideas, and one of them for me, besides the safety feature of kind of closing off another roadway into right across at the beginning of the town, was perhaps the opportunity to divide it again and sell the back part of it. Yeah, it would have been a nice thing to have some open space that was just like this park area, was extremely well used by the public, and it's always nice to get something that's very rare. So that was the thinking. There was a lot of options that was going to afford us.
You're not supposed to, but you can.
There was no intent of the council to in fact tie that in the public. Closed sessions were gone because we're basically holding those for confidential negotiations with respect to price and terms. But every time we went into closed session, it was disclosed that we were discussing those three properties in the closed session amendments.
I'd like to follow up then, if I may. Okay. The question was not that you were purchasing the property, it's why it was purchased. It was available residential, and then it was rezoned commercial, which virtually doubled the value of it, and then that's when it was voted on to purchase. That's my understanding. So that's why, that was my question. Not if it's a real estate.
Yeah, Mr. Kingston, do you want just real quickly?
Maybe you can just explain the timing of it. Maybe I don't understand the timing.
I don't know the timing of when it was changed to commercial, but the commercial listing price of that property was well above it. In fact, we negotiated with the current family. So even though there was an asking price out there, the property we negotiated for those three properties was well below the market asking price. I do not know what the timing of the residential commercial was. I don't know if anyone else on some council knows that.
There was one other time we did sell a property commercial that was residential that I recall, which was the property next to Duck Deli. I'm not recalling the zoning, that was that one house that's adjacent to Duck Deli, the zone commercial, because it was right in the commercial section. I don't recall when the Hannah property was zoned commercial, but it wasn't in conjunction with this offer. That was sometime before.
Well, thank you for making your responses. We really appreciate that. Anyway, now we'll hear from the candidates with their closing remarks. We'll go in the reverse order from the opening statements. So we'll start with Don Kingston.
Once again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for conducting this candidate forum this evening, and all the Duck voters in attendance for coming tonight. We hope we've given you some good information and helped you make decisions as we approach election day. In summary, I stand on my record for the last 10 years in the town council, especially the last 8 years as your mayor, providing leadership and working with other members of council staff to show the results that have been shown done today. I've supported and fully support the major initiatives of the town. I've established over the years and maintained a high-level relationship with the other town mayors, county chairman officials, and state representatives. I've also established relations with other elected officials across the state as a result of the League of Municipalities and Mayors Association. I trust my opening statement and comments that I've made tonight have been assistance to you. I'm available and encourage you to contact me if you have any further questions. That being said, I would once again sincerely appreciate
your consideration to vote for my reelection as member of the Duck Council. Thank you.
Mr. Mooney.
Again, thank everybody for coming out here tonight. It's important that everyone participate in this process. I think that without experience in this town council, I would have a hard time trying to compete with somebody like Don. That being said, I think that my experiences in the rest of the world and in my life before I came here will give me a good understanding of the way to do things here. I mean, ultimately, you learn things as you go along, and that's always been the process for me. I learned so many things working as a detective in New York City. A simple homicide case, at the end of it, you may discover that you know more about DNA than you ever wished to know. But this is the way the world is today. You have to learn as you go along, and you have to learn it well, and you have to be judicious when you make decisions. So I think that it's important sometimes to have new voices and new ideas and new thoughts about what goes on in a town like this. This is truly small town America. That's why we love it here so much, and I want to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whitman.
Yes, I'd also like to thank the League of Women Voters, the audience tonight for coming. And I just want to say that I'd like to be able to help guide the town of Duck forward in a positive and constructive direction. I'm committed to preserve the quality of life today with a keen eye towards the future. That's how I feel about sitting on the council, what I'd like to do. And last, I would like to wish everyone that they will vote for me on November 5th, and please remember to vote.
Yes, I'm going to remind everybody what those dates are. Okay, Mr. Brett.
Again, thank you everybody for coming out. It's great to see this turnout and this involvement in the community. Thank you, Lee, for putting this on for us. I would like to say, I'd like to get your support in the upcoming election. I would like to continue the vision of this town that started back with my father years ago when he sat around and said, you know, we need bike trails. And that's where it started. And I'd like to continue to watch this town, help this town grow and follow the vision that we have. As I'm raising my family here and so forth. And please turn out and vote, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Mr. Murray.
I want to thank everybody for being here, and thanks for the questions. I thought they were well thought out. Moving forward, you guys know what we all look like now, so I think I can speak for everybody when I say, you know, feel free to communicate with us and ask questions if you have them, and definitely come out and vote on November 5th.
Ms. Kavanagh.
As part of this community, I wear a lot of hats. And as I shared in my opening statement, I have served this town faithfully for many, many years, and I would like to continue to do so. I'm a person that believes in fair, forward-thinking, progressive ideas to solve problems. And I think we have I think a small town can be the solution to some of our big problems: climate change, environmental degradation, clean water, just to name a few, national shortage of volunteers, housing. And I also believe the decisions that are made on the local level are very important. Those of you that know me have heard me say this over and over and over again. In fact, a lot of you got my card. Decisions are made by those who show up. So please participate. Thank you for being here tonight. Please vote. Please vote. It's one of our most precious responsibilities and rights. Thank you very much to my fellow candidates for this evening. Thank you for your questions, and thank you for the lead for all you do.
Ms. Thibodeau.
Thank you so much to the League and to everybody here tonight. My fellow candidates, it's a great opportunity to get in front of so many people. I just want to also thank the town staff that we've been working with all these years. My time here since 2003 on the council, and as we became a town, I've learned a lot. I've watched us develop into a leader of this entire Outer Banks. People look to Duck for what we've done, and I think we have a lot to be proud of. The way we handled ourselves, we've been innovative, we've been fiscally responsible, we've been transparent, and I really feel as though that's something that we can all be very proud of, and people look to us the legacy or the longevity that I have being here this long as a resident and on the council, I think is valuable. And I think as whoever we vote for, I hope you'll vote for me. But I think that my tenure here on the council is something helpful as we move into the future, kind of looking at the past and as well as being able to project into the future. I think it gives us a little anchor. So I would hope that I could have your vote and welcome any questions. You know where to find me. I'm usually right around. So please ask for your vote, and thank you very much for being here.
Mr. Burdick.
I want to thank everybody that has come. Your interest in this election is excellent. And I look forward to all of you will turn out and vote. And also thank the leagues for putting it on. I originally ran first time on a platform of fiscal restraint to get control of our spending and our taxes. And this was 10 years ago. During my time on the council, I've tried to be the fiscal watchdog while still making sure that our operations are successful, including police and fire systems for everyone, as well as fostering the town's growth with a good five-year budgeting process. I believe that we've done that very well, and we have an excellent town staff, police and protection, garbage recycle services. The myriad of projects that we've done over the past 10 years are phenomenal for a small town. And to have done it and been able to afford to have done it, this speaks a lot to the leadership that we've had in the town hall. There are several significant projects coming forward, including the rest of the pedestrian plan, the public safety building that we talked about, more beach nourishment, maintaining it, and this must be done responsibly with a good understanding of the town's physical assets and how can we leverage them to achieve the optimal plan that minimizes our tax burden. If elected, I'll work with the council as I have in the past as part of a team. We are not individuals, we are a team, and we subject ourselves to that position so that we don't stand on individual priorities. We do what's best for the town. We want Dublin to continue as the #1 town in the Outer Banks.
Mr. Fordra.
I should say ditto. I agree with a lot of comments and everything people are saying. Can't be thanked enough. I love seeing a full room with these meetings and stuff like this. It's a community that makes this happen and makes it happen in the correct way. Thank you for coming out. I think I also need to come up with some cliffhanger to keep you guys coming back. The only cliffhanger I can think of this moment is, as everybody else said, please come out and vote. We want to hear what you have to say. Make sure we move forward in a good, responsible way and keep this a great community. Thank you.
Okay, this concludes the 2019 Duck Municipal Election Voter Forum, but I have some announcements. We wish to thank the candidates for their participation, the voters and citizens for their attendance and their excellent questions, and the town of Duck for the use of their meeting room. We also want to thank Christian Legner, who's in the back of the room doing all the technology, for videotaping this event. We will post the video on our website, which is www.lwvdare.org, and we have lots of reminders over there on the table for what that is if you didn't catch it. And it'll be on our YouTube page, it'll be on the town website, and on the current TV channel. This year, we're participating in something called Vote 411, and we have reminder cards here. It's vote411.org, all one word, .org. And starting on October 9th, we hope, all of the information will be available there. You go on this. This is a function of the League of Women Voters, the National League of Women Voters. So they do this all over the country. And we have given the information, we've had participation by all of the people running in all of the towns on the Outer Banks, and they've answered some general questions that we've asked. So you'll be able to go in there, as I said, starting hopefully on October 9th, which is still a week before the early voting starts, and you can put in there your zip code, and it'll take you to all kinds of choices. You can check to make sure you're registered. If you're not, you can register there. You can get the form to register there. You can see the answers to the questions that the candidates have provided before you make your decision to go to the polls. And I quite honestly don't know how you're going to choose, because excellent candidates. At any rate, this is a one-stop shop website that voters may access on their phone or on their PC. As I said, you put in your zip code, then you put in your address and so on, and see all of those things. Please check it out, and this will be also in future elections, anytime there's an election coming up. Hopefully Vote 411 will be up and running, and you'll have the answers to the candidates. And the league here does this so that the questions can be customized to our area. You know, you're not just answering, the questions won't be necessarily for the whole country or the whole state, or it'll be local. Future scheduled forums, we have forums in all of the towns, October 3rd in Nags Head, Monday, October 7th at the Southern Shores at the Pitt Center. Kill Devil Hills Forum is Tuesday, October 8th. In Manteo, it'll be October 9th at the Commissioners Meeting Room. They're all 7 o'clock. And then in Kitty Hawk, there's only 2 vacant seats and 2 candidates, so they're virtually unopposed. So we're having a reception for them on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And they can just talk to they don't have to have a formal thing for 2 people. So they can just, you can meet and greet. If any of you are interested in that, have another house there, some such thing. Okay, remember that the last day to register for this election is Friday, October 11th at 5 p.m. We have registration forms here. Early voting begins Wednesday, October 16th, and it continues till November 1st. It will be in 2 locations, the Dare County Board of Elections in Manteo and the Kill Devil Hills Town Hall, and that's what we've been doing for early voting in the most recent elections. Election day is Tuesday, November 5th, and that's in your precinct. So it's where you've voted if you didn't do early voting in the past. We encourage you to join us as we strive to make democracy work. League of Women Voter membership applications are on the information table. And note that the League of Women Voters is not just for women. We have several men members, and they're extremely active. And I want you to know that the small Dare County League of Women Voters now dominates the state League of Women Voters board. So they've been very active. And 2, 3 of them are men. So men, sign up. Support your women in their ability to vote. Are there any questions? And if not, please give the candidates a round of applause.